Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another Toonkind at 12 FPS. My name is Avi, and today I will be playing two characters, a pair of brothers. It's Dan and Sean Wesson. Yeah, they're here. And with me today is my wonderful, dear friend who I adore so very much, who has great art and wonderful ideas and such memorable characters.
Ah, Hey, it's me, Vamp. I'm here for an AI game for once, and today I'm actually playing my new character, M.
What do you mean, for once?
I'm not very often in voice games on AI. Like the last one that I was in was like Monster of the Mine.
You've been in a lot of voiced games. I don't know how to tell you this. Anyway.
Anyway, I think it's safe to say that we start in Inkwell, but where in Inkwell?
Probably some small town off in the middle of UPA, because that's where the previous game took place. Um,
Mm-hmm.
you are traveling.
He is. After the obligatory check-in with his friends and his supervisor of sorts, Ensu would like to think that he's a supervisor and minder. In practice, that's not the case. But in any case, Im is once again traveling. He has been traveling I'm quite a lot on his mission, and so it brings him back to this area since he had never finished investigating it before the storm passed over.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, how do I put it? How to put it? I had an idea in mind and then I lost it.
Let's see. Who?
Okay. Um, you are traveling once again, and as you are on the road, you hear something.
Hmm? What
Sounds
does he
like
hear?
it sounds like hoof clopping and wagon wheels on the road that you are also on.
And M does turn his head to look at the wagon.
Yeah. You see this pretty impressive looking wagon. There's only two horses, and the wagon is kind of small, but even then, it is still pretty decent. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Currently, the little canvas covering has been taken down, so it's just full open into the air. It is a bright and sunny day right now. But you see that the person driving the cart is this human man um, who, as you turn around, he just kind of goes, "Pardon me," and um, in the wagon you see a familiar pair of horns.
Mm-hmm. See, I love if I don't have to put roll history for ship as long as it happened within the last month. Yeah, so he spots a familiar pair of horns, and he quite honestly ignores what the man said to point at the familiar pair of horns. And quick refresher for me, the man, because I forgot. Is this one Dean?
Dan.
Dan, yeah. He points at the familiar pair of horns and goes, Dan, is that you?
Uh, the wagon's still going, by the way. Uh, Dan looks up from whatever it is he's doing. He had been looking down at something in his lap. Uh, and he's kind of like surrounded with by a few crates. But the moment you call out his
Mm-hmm.
name and the wagon is passing by you, uh, uh, he goes, he looks up and turns to you and he goes, "Wait, you're M, right?"
Yes, that is correct. And I'm actually going to roll. What would it be to roll to like climb into the wagon as it passes by? Because he's not even
Athletics.
athletics. Okay, his athletics is actually just a straight D20 plus a D4 with guidance. So we shall see. Just slightly. That's a 9, dear listeners. So, M does like go up to the wagon and like begins to attempts to like climb in. He doesn't do like okay, so he doesn't quite like manage. He probably would have to like be pulled in by Dan, but it's not like absolutely terrible. He didn't even get a foothold, if that makes sense.
Actually, I think what Dan does is like, "Sean, stop the wagon, stop the wagon." And the wagon comes to a stop, and then Dan kind of uh, pulls him back on.
He and M like gives like a soft oop before sitting cross-legged next to like Dan on the wagon as if nothing is wrong and he had in fact been invited in.
Real quick, you sound like you are peaking your mic. Are you too close to it?
I am using my earbuds right now. So that might be why. Give me 1 second. I think I know a way to like make this. Is this better? Hello, hello. Is this
Yeah,
better?
yeah, it does sound a bit better. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. The guy who had been driving the wagon kind of looks over at his shoulder, and the guy just goes, "What, are we picking up strays now?" And Dan's just like, "Gosh, I know this guy."
Im's like Im crosses his arms next to Dan and it's just like if this is how you treat all strays, I'm unimpressed. You could at least give a guest some food.
We're actually on our way to town to pick up some food.
I'm even more unimpressed. You travel on the road on a wagon this large and you have no rations?
Give me a second. And Dan's gonna flip through his equipment. I also have to look through his equipment. Okay, yeah, he does have some rations, and he's gonna hand you like some jerky.
Mm. And Im will gladly take it. He will, however, like actually like split like the turkey between him and Dan. Like he will offer Dan half.
That's his jerky.
Yes, and he's offering Dan half.
Okay. Um. And Dan just goes, "How have you been? It's been a while, hasn't it?"
Not that long, but I've been quite alright. Like I said, I'm here in Ankle on mission, and it brought me around in this area again since I never finished investigating it before that storm came to pass.
Oh, right. You did say something about that. Uh, yeah, no. My brother and I have just been kind of traveling around, so we came back because of a bounty.
And you do see him perk up, and he goes, "Ah, well, has there been any reports of a monster in this area?"
uh, in a manner of speaking. Um, oh, this is my brother Sean, by the way.
Im takes a look at Sean.
Sean's still focused on driving the wagon. He's got the reins in both hands, but he kind of like shifts a little bit to like hold the reins in one hand. He kind of gives you like a two-fingered salute.
God, Im turns back to Dan. Adopted?
Actually, we're by blood.
Oh, all right, and he accepts that. So if you're here for a bounty, mind if I talk along?
Are you sure?
Yes. If you are hunting down a monster, it might be related to my own mission, so I might as well take a look.
Uh, that depends. And he kind of looks over to Sean, and Sean just kind of goes, "Well, we did pick up the the hunt for the actual bounty," uh, and Dan's just like, "Come on, Sean. Sean, he's a kid.
M from the background goes, I am 15 years old.
You can still share the money 3 ways. It'd be enough to get a meal for all three of us."
M kind of like tilts his head before giving like a little bit of a shrug and going, if that's what you wish, I have no need of the money.
Uh, Sean, not Sean, Dan raises a brow. You sure?
Yes, I suppose um, he kind of like quiets a bit as he tries to figure out a word for this. Judging by his comment, which does have like some of an accent to it, even though like Im's like quite fluent. Common isn't his like first language. He is very fluent in it, but like you can tell that he's struggling to think up like a word. I suppose my one of my companions has more than enough gold for our travel.
And Dan kind of looks over to Sean. Sean kind of just shrugs, and he's just like, "Well, if you're willing, we could always use the help." Um,
He nods. I can more than hold my own in a fight.
you've already proved that. And Sean kind of just Sean from where he's sitting kind of just shakes his head and kind of rolls his eyes affectionately.
And M like settles into the wagon as like they continue like driving and goes, do you have any more details on this bounty then?
Um,
May I hear about it?
yeah, actually, and you see, Dan kind of picks up a slip of paper that he'd been like that's what he placed next to his leg, um,
Mm-hmm.
and he hands that to you, and it's detailing a fiend that had been popping up around this area.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and he, as you're looking over that, he also goes to pick up his um, a leather bound journal that you've seen before during the events of
Monster after mine.
Monster of the Mind. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and he flips to a page, and he also tilts the book, the journal enough for you to see what's written on it. It's a bunch of information that they've gathered through investigating.
Mm-hmm. And as M flips through the paper, like he's looking like very closely to the paper and like reading through it. Like he has the stage background. He knows like how to like read, how to like highlight like the important parts, and more importantly, how to like memorize it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's not what I
Yep.
wanted.
And he looks through it, and after he's done, he kind of like nods and goes, if the information is true and this is an actual fiend, then this is not one of the beings that I'm hunting. But I shall help you nonetheless. That is what a great priest must do.
And from the seat, you hear Sean just go, "You're a priest."
Yes, I am a great priest from Misr, And the two can roll, like, what would this be? History?
History. To
Yeah,
know about a
they can.
place, that would be
Yeah,
history.
they can roll history. I don't think the DC would be super high, considering these two like travel everywhere and are also real kind.
Well, to be fair, they've only traveled everywhere in Furuma.
Oh, that's true. This is another con. This is another country.
Yeah. Okay, well, my boy. Actually,
Uh-oh.
what is doesn't make sense that Dan wouldn't get this. Not Dan, Sean wouldn't get this.
Oh, Sean. Sean, you have no clue whatsoever what he's talking about. Dan, that does meet the DC that I said. So Dan, Misr is a transcontinental country to the southeast of Anquil, and it straddles two different continents and borders the sea to the north and west. It's yeah, it's a region that quite a lot of people like do pass through because of its position. Even though like most of the region is like characterized by its inhospitable deserts. Um, like there's a lot to like this country that I'm not gonna go into, but Dan, you do remember that Missouri is like very religious and that there are like a lot of like temples within it and it has a multi-deity pantheon. Religion is like a way of life and a part of the culture in that country. So it makes sense that yeah, Im is a priest and he is from that country.
Yeah, there's probably a moment as that kind of like clicks for him, and he's just like, all right, yeah, that checks out. Um, but he's just like, you're still pretty young to be a priest, aren't you?
I am 15 years old and I have been I have grown up in the temple all my life. There is no one better suited for the position than I am.
Yeah, but you're like 15? Do you do anything else besides the priest work?
Roll me an insight.
Okay. This is something.
But I get to possibly defeat Imlar.
Alright, it's another 12. Okay. 12 plus. Okay.
I'd say that makes it like you ask like him like, oh, do you do anything other than priest work? And you see like a brief melancholy cross his face, like a brief melancholy across his face and what looks a bit like grief. And you get the sense that you get the sense that yes, he probably did do stuff other than priest work. Maybe he even had someone he spent time with outside of priest work. Whoever it is isn't around anymore though.
Hmm.
And out loud though, Im's just well, I'm here now, away from my temple, on a mission. And my friend Hinata Inankwo has been introducing me to new things.
From where Sean's driving the wagon is just like, I think that still kind of falls in line with uh still kind of falls in line with the priesthood. Kids like you should be, I don't know, at school, at the club.
Well, in this per capita. Well, I did attend school with Hinata for a little bit.
Are you still in school?
When I'm not conducting my mission, yes. School is very incredibly easy, so I have no problem at all catching up in between missions.
And he just kind of shrugs and goes, "Alright, fair enough."
Yeah, like Im like holds up like the paper that he was given on the feed and goes, from what I can see in Hinata school, school is all about proving that you are retaining information through standardized testing. Personally, I do not believe that all of her teachers are interested in teaching us an art as much as they wish for students to be able to regurgitate information, which is something that I am very capable of doing, given that I believe the term in common is photographic memory.
I love the fact that you're talking about this to, like, what's essentially two farm boys.
I know, like he's so Im is like his background is a sage and he's 15 years old, but he's talking like this.
The funny thing is that, like, Dan did go to college for a little bit. But there's, like, a brief moment where Dan's just like, I don't know if we should get into the politics of public education right now.
Are there politics involved with it? And then Im like sighs and goes, whatever. I suppose it would be too much to hope for that an Einquo education would be entirely separate from politics.
I actually don't know what it's like, what education is like in Inkwell. We're not from here.
Are you not? What country are you from?
Haruma.
Ah, and he nods. That makes sense. I've I actually don't know if M has been for a month. So I'm going to like table like my immediate response, but yeah, because he might have, but he wouldn't have been sightseeing much if he did. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, he nods and goes. In any case, rest assured, I am perfectly capable of upholding my duties as a great priest, and my age has no bearing on this.
I mean, sure. But this isn't a comment as your abilities as a great priest or your abilities as a child. You are still a kid. You should.
Perhaps.
I'm trying to figure out how to put something into words in a way that isn't insulting to him.
Yeah, no, Im's like staring at Dan with those big ol' eyes.
It's just like, does this kid have hobbies? Does he do things that isn't cleric work?
Dan points, Sean, how do I ask him?
He's just gonna let it go for now, man. Um,
Yeah,
Especially since you've essentially butted in on a hunt.
yeah. I love him and his inability to mind his own fucking business. Yeah. So in any case, like Im rests like his staff across his lap and rests his staff across his lap and starts like taking stock of himself, basically what spells he has and he and like after like the wagon moves he goes, to get I I must confess, I do not actually know how the bounty system works here in Anquell. Do you need to bring back a body for to get your bounty, or is it enough to bring back simple proof that you did actually take out the demon in question?
Depends on the job.
In this job, then?
Um, it's mostly. I need to double check the stat block I was looking at. Do, do, do. Well, this one in particular was a haunt in a specific building. So if we manage to get the thing out of there and the residents can go back in, that should be fine.
I could attempt to do a banishment spell.
You could always try that. And uh,
And like Im nods and starts like prepping like the spell's already prepared on his sheet, but like he starts like prepping his staff anyway.
mm-mm.
And
um,
like the moon emblems like do glow a little bit as he does so.
do you want to roll an investigation so you can read over the notes? Because I did pull up a
Yes, investigation. May I argue advantage given his sage background?
is there anything in the sage background that gives you advantage on this?
No, what it does give is like if he attempts to learn a piece of lore, if he doesn't know that information, he knows exactly where and from whom he can obtain it.
Well, this is exactly where and who you can obtain it from.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, let's go. Oh, that's good actually.
17? Yeah, okay. In that case, you're reading a bunch of like stuff about fiends. You see in the notebook there's a bit of like there's a list of like different types of fiends and whatnot. In fact, you notice that uh, rather than it being like a devil specifically, it's actually just a straight demon. And there is a very big difference between a devil and a demon in D&D,
Mm-hmm.
etc., etc. Um, uh, there's a couple of notes on like power levels, um, but based on the information that Sean and Dan were able to get, um, this is, I hope I'm pronouncing this right. It is a babao, which is
How do you spell that?
Babau.
Babau. Babao.
Yeah.
Okay, babao. Yeah, babao.
Which is a pretty decently difficult fiend to combat. Um, if you are going up against it alone,
Mm-hmm.
um, with the 17, you would know that these things resist quite a bit. Uh, Non-magical attacks aren't really going to help, and they also resist cold fire and lightning damage.
M is taking all this in, and then M kind of like looks and stares at like Dan and like Sean,
Mm-hmm.
right? And he's just like, so what was your plan if I didn't join in?
It would have dropped you off at the nearest inn.
No, not that. What was your plan if I didn't join in? This thing resists non-magical attacks and quite a lot of different sources of damage as well.
We've got plenty to work with. Um, And Sean kind of raises a brow, and he kind of gestures with a shoulder, kind of like um, uh, pointing towards something that is towards the back of the wagon. And what is your passive perception?
His passive, I believe, will be, give me 1 second, 13.
13. Wonderful. Um, yeah, you probably won't be able to see it because they do try to actively hide it while they're just traveling from one place to another. But Dan kind of moves over a little bit in the wagon to like um, show you that there is a hidden compartment in the bed of the wagon.
Hmm. And then, like, peers at it and goes, magic weapons?
Many different kinds.
I see. Well, it's good to see that you are prepared. And it sounds vaguely condescending, but then, like, you've talked to him during Monster of the Mind.
I did not understand a word you just said.
Oh, it sounds vaguely condescending when he says like, it's good to see that you are actually prepared. But it's not meant to be condescending. Like Dan, especially like having spent time with him in Monster of the Mind, despite being a great priest, his charisma is his thumbstamp.
You
Like
hear
he is poorly socialized.
you hear Sean kind of grumble underneath his breath.
Sean, I'm so sorry. He's poorly socialized.
um, Kids these days. Uh,
Him kind of looks at like Sean and raises an eyebrow. Who and like um then you hear him mutter, I am certain that I'm older than you.
that is the funniest thing you can ever say when you have just told him that you are 15.
Yeah, don't yeah, don't question it, Dan.
Oh, give me a second.
Mhm.
All right, sorry about that.
It's okay.
It's fine. Sean and Dana have dealt with a lot of strange creatures and entities. Don't worry about it. It's
In any
fine.
yeah. In any case, like him kind of like lapses into the silence then. Although he does like every now and then he will like pipe up to like ask like Dan like a few things about like his hometown and about like the stuff that he and Sean does. And it's during those moments where he does that that he actually like acts more like a kid, like your standard like asking you like a million questions like behavior.
I appreciate that. Um, Here's the funny thing. You're asking him about the stuff he does and where he's from.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Sean and Dan both grew up on a family farm.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and he does admit that that the whole like bounty hunting thing is part of like a family business kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that ever since a couple of years back, he and Sean have been traveling, taking on these bounties.
Nuts. Upon hearing it's a family business, like M does not like. Ah, yes, that makes sense. And goes, I suppose, like I am also in the family business, as you say.
Oh, that would explain a few things.
Quite so. The Temple of Tetu found me as an infant at their doors, and I was raised within the temple.
Oh, so like that. Okay.
Yeah, like yeah, that sure explains a lot, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Hilariously, it does.
Yeah, and M kind of like nods and goes, um, it was of no surprise when I was chosen to become the new high priest, given that from what my caretakers have told me and what I remember, I was already able to make complete sentences when I was but a baby.
Pretty proficient baby, huh?
Yes, out of character, this is not normal, but M like does not quite realize how abnormal it is.
Yeah, no, both Sean and Dan are kind of like giving each other a look.
Um,
Out of character, the thought they both have is this is another supernaturally touched kid that they found.
Another?
Like I've said, they've had to keep watch over several teenagers in the past.
Yeah, like even without rolling anything, like babies aren't usually able to talk that young, let alone like make complete sentences before they're even able to like walk. And that combined with the fact that he has a photographic memory
Mm-hmm.
and that like he is like a cleric of Tetu who was found like who and like he was found as a baby outside of the doors to the temple of Tetu with no like family to speak of or anyone who claimed him. Like to literally everyone else, that's kind of a like, I don't know what that means, but that's not normal. To him, like it is kind of normal because yeah,
Looks at him.
yeah.
All right.
Yeah, he's just a really smart baby. He's just a really smart guy. He knows he's a smart guy. Like, what do you mean most babies can't do that skill issue? uh, but like, yeah, like he nods and goes, the temple would be the closest thing I have to like a family, I suppose. And there is that brief like moment of melancholy on his face again, then that brief like moment of like unresolved guilt and like grief. But he shakes it off and he goes, so you two learned this trade from, I presume, your father?
Do you want to roll insight?
Yeah, sure. Sure. I'm sure there is like I'm sure like this is like sure. I'm sure like it's normal for asking after someone's father to require an insight roll. That's a crit. That's a nat 20.
How should I flavor this?
Oh boy.
Um, um, how do I put it? Put it into words. You ask about their dad. There is a brief moment of a lot of mixed feelings. written across their faces for like the briefest of seconds. Um, Dan.
Im kind of, I will say, Im's immediate reaction upon seeing that is like out loud, outright, just saying, "Ah, I seem to have committed a social faux pas."
Oh no! You're fine. But like, but yeah, we did pick this up from our dad.
Hmm,
Our mother was a bounty hunter too.
I see. And he kind of like blinks at them and goes, "I take it you don't wish for me to ask any further questions?"
There is a in sort of awkward glance uh from Dan to Sean, and Sean's just like, this isn't an interrogation. We're almost there anyway.
And he kind of like nods and goes, "Very well, I understand. This is probably something you would only tell like a level 10 friend." And he kind of like gives a nod as if that logic makes complete sense.
Level 10 friend.
Love the implication that he already considers them friends.
It's funny because Sean doesn't know this guy at all. Dan
Yep.
does. And Sean's kind of like heavily relying on the entire thing with handling him.
Yeah, yeah. It gets a lot easier when you realize it's kind of like having a dog who is human.
Mm. Sure is a way to phrase that. But anyway.
I'm right.
Um
Yeah. In any case, when Dan's like, "Ah, we're almost there," I'm kind of like 5% and goes, yes, hmm. Do you both have dark vision?"
I think I need to double check. Okay, yeah, no. Dan goes, I do, Sean doesn't.
He turns to Sean and goes, "Would you like some dark vision?"
Sure, why not?
Yeah, and upon saying that, Im like lifts his staff, and the blue orb that floats within the crescent moon that tops his staff like glows as he murmurs like some prayers in Celestial. And Sean, for 1 hour, you share Im's dark vision, which means that you can like have dark vision up to a range of 300 feet.
Cripes. That's so much.
Yep.
Alright.
And yeah, and as an action, like Im will give himself a vigilant blessing, which basically means that the next initiative roll he makes is at advantage.
Mm.
Hmm. And he nods and he goes, "There, you should now be able to see in the dark. That
Okay.
only lasts for 1 hour, yeah. So be warned."
Alright, you got it. Working on a time limit then. Thanks, kid.
No problem. And it's clear that the "no problem" is like an informal phrase that he's new to, judging by how he spoke it.
Sorry, the thought Sean handed me was, God, we gotta get this kid some formative childhood experiences.
It's Always Sunny starts playing, Dan and Sean adopts a 15-year-old.
um, here's what I'm trying to figure out. So you guys approach the building. It is an old, like, rickety building.
Mhm.
I guess the best way to put it is that it's very much a how you say, it's a it's kind of like one of those heritage sites. As my cat decides to choose violence. Hang on a second, Luna. Don't do that. I'm recording. Okay. It's like one of those buildings that's like it's like so old it's been turned into like sort of a heritage site that you can come visit and stuff. I don't know if you know anything about those.
I think I do vaguely. I don't think I've ever been in one in person, but I know of them.
Yeah, they're kind of like museums in themselves, but like not big ones. But it's very
Old.
it's very old. Um, and Sean brings the cart to a stop, and the two horses kind of just huff as they're brought to the side and like are told to wait. They're kind of like gonna graze in that area, but
You do see him like pet the horses as he passes by them.
yeah, if he wants, Sean will tell him their names.
Im looks at him with big old eyes.
Yeah, this one's Impala, and this one with the little pattern in her mane, that's Chevy, short for Chevy.
Uh, and he will pat them, pat, 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 pat.
Uh,
And as he pets them, he also kind of like looks over at the two and goes, "Would either of you like a protection from evil and good?"
oh, it's been a while since we used that spell.
He kind of like stares and goes, "That doesn't answer the question."
Uh, go for it.
Which one of you would like it?
Um, I'm going to say I think it would be better if Sean got it for now, just because of how incomplete his sheet is right now.
All
Um,
right, so Sean gets slapped with protection from evil and good,
in the meantime, these
and you are protected against fiends, of course.
yeah. In the meantime, Sean and Dan are going through some of the crates in the my cat make noises and distracts me. They're going through some crates in the wagon. You see them pull out a couple of weapons, of course. Interestingly enough, Sean grabs what looks to be a bag of salt. And tucks an old book under his arm. So Dan's holding the two weapons for them. And as they retreat from the wagon, uh, Sean just kind of goes, "All right, let's go."
All right, and Im will go in.
Luna, what is it? Why are you making noises at me?
She wants attention.
Yeah, she does. I just watched her step into a shoebox and almost accidentally close it on top of her.
Mm-hmm.
You're so goofy. You're so silly, goof. So yeah.
That's nuts.
And Dan kind of readjusts himself as you guys approach the building. There is a key that was given to him by the owner of the building, um,
Mhm.
which he uses to unlock the front door. Um, and as he kind of just holds it open and kind of gestures for everyone to go inside.
Yep. And in shall head on in. He shall actually head on in first.
Mm-hmm. Sean actually enters in last because as the door closes, what he ends up doing is he pours some of the salt in a line across the doorway.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and um, as he does this, you do hear them kind of like talk to each other. Um, I'm not going to do an entire conversation with just myself. Uh,
Fair.
I think Sean's going to do a quick general perception, actually. Not Sean, Dan. No, Sean has the better perception. Okay. Okay, yep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah. He kind of just, kind of looks around and he says something along the lines of how he's gonna try and get, all the doors, um, that lead outside salted. Um,
M kind of tilts his head at that, but he is assuming that they actually know like what they're doing. So he's assuming that this is some kind of like ritual that he is unaware of.
Not quite, but if he wants to ask, he can. Um,
He'll ask after. Right now they are like looking for a feed.
mm-hmm. um, and you see Dan kind of like look around the building, and actually, what he says is, um, our employer did say that it was in the attic. So we might have a bit of trouble depending on what's up there. Um, Keeping it in one spot.
M kind of nods and goes, I tried to think about what he would say. When they were like looking at the building from outside, were there any windows up above, like where the attic area would be?
As far as you could tell, actually, roll me a
Holds up keen mind.
yeah, roll me a perception, and then we can base your keen mind off of that.
Yay! I love keen mind. 23.
Yeah, as far as you could tell, there were no windows where the attic would have been.
Yeah, he outright he I'm not describing the entire layout, but he describes like the layout of the building from outside as they had seen it going in, and he ends it with the attic should not have any windows, so I believe the entrance that we would be going in through would be the only entrance available.
Mm-hmm. And I think what Dan ends up saying, it's like, well, it's easier to have make sure that they can't escape. Period. So blocking off the doors would be the best bet. Uh, Worst comes to worse, I think Sean and I can handle keeping it distracted so you can get a banishment spell off.
M nods. I will unfortunately I am weaker. than I once was, but I should have 2 shots at it.
Alright, we'll get you an opportunity then. And Dan just kind of nods. Sean returns, kind of sets the bag of salt by one of the walls. Dan hands Sean one of the weapons, and Sean is just like, just make sure you stay out of the line of fire.
It does like make a little bit of a face at that. Like he frowns and he goes like, "Hi, why would I do that?"
He kind of raises a brow at you.
And M kind of like meets like his there and goes like, "Aside from the banishment, I'm also a healer. I am not going to hand back while my allies are in a fight."
He really wants to fight you on this. He really
M
does.
like M like crosses his arms and looks up at him like with those big old eyes.
And Dan just kind of nudges Sean's shoulders, like, dude, let it go. And Sean just sighs and just goes, all right, let's go.
M nods and follows after. It's good that Sean let it go because otherwise I would have to like on the fly hey come up with a speech about the responsibility of a great priest to its people and how like it is not in Im's like duties or honor code to like hang back while his allies do all the fighting. Dodged up the look there.
Definitely did, and this is an FPS. I don't want it to go on for too long.
Yeah.
I'll be bullied again.
But yeah, they're in they go to the attic. Should we roll initiative?
Yeah, sure. You guys
Cool.
enter, and there is a big, a pretty decently sized entity standing there with a dark, leathery skin and a tail and horns and a very gaunt looking face. Um, I'll probably send you a picture of what this thing looks like later because it is frightening.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, roll initiative.
Cool. I have advantage from Vigilant Blessing. Not that it matters that much when his dex is a flat +1, but you know.
Yeah.
Never mind, that's a 30-20.
Alright. I need to roll 3 of these. It's also, yep. Sean. Okay, that's really funny. That's really funny.
Uh-oh.
I think that's right. Yes, okay. I'm right.
If M goes first with his +1 modifier, thank God Dan goes first. There we go. So it's Dan, M, Sean, and Papao.
Yeah. Do. As I'll take a look at Dan's sheet real quick. Oh, that's a whole person. Yeah, he's gonna do Crimson Right.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a crossbow. That's not it. I lost. Where the fuck did it go? There it is. Crimson Right. Do do do. Alright, so that's a d6. He takes as damage. Takes 4 necrotic. Actually, wait, no. That wouldn't work. Ugh. God damn it.
That's you. What's wrong?
I'm trying to figure out what he would do, because, like...
Pomka?
Yeah, no, I think he would just do it anyway, just for the additional damage, and for the sake of having his weapon be magical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty
so
important.
It's, right of the, right of the flame. So,
Gotcha.
and he is just going to fire, his crossbow. By the way, this looks like a gun. Because of course
Oh my
it does.
god. Does it make like a gunshot noise though, is my question.
Probably.
Yeah, so you do like see him like flinch a little at the loud noise.
He does
Not
have...
not for any trauma reasons. It's literally just that he was unprepared for the loud gunshot noise.
Yeah. Okay, 7 plus 7. And then he does have multi-attack. So we're good with that. Oh, wow. So only one of those hit. And... D8. No, where's my D8? Okay, 2 fires. That means... Oh. I am so good at math, you guys.
That's you.
So that's 11 damage. This thing takes 11 damage.
Mm-hmm.
It is now Im's turn.
Yeah. Is it within 60 feet?
I'm gonna say yeah, because this is not a big building.
Yeah, I think Im's just gonna straight up like go for the banishment.
Alright, do I have to make a save?
Yes, you have to make a charisma save.
A charisma
His DC
save.
isn't that high though, unfortunately, because he doesn't have a maxed out wisdom.
You know what, that's fine. Alright. Ooh. I don't know, man.
That's either really good for us or really bad.
That's a 17 total.
Yeah, that does like make it. So Im does as like Dan distracts it. Im does like point his staff to the demon and like a blue like glow like washes like across the room as like he focuses but there is like a as like he's chanting, there is like there seems to be like a moment where like his concentration seems to like alter as the demon resists and the glow like dissipates, and you hear him like mutter like a frustrated like curse under his breath. But you hear him mutter a frustrated curse, but he shakes his head and he casts sanctuary on himself as his bonus action.
Alright. Next in the order is Sean, and I didn't think this far ahead because I actually do need to look at what the flip he can do. Okay, yeah, no, he's just charging in and just gonna do an attack with... what do you got? What do you got, my boy? What do you got?
I'm sorry for accidentally giving you an Omegle turn. Like, making you play 3 characters.
It's fine. Yeah, you know what? We're just gonna do... Okay, that one hits. That one also hits. I'm just gonna use... Like I said, Sean's sheet isn't complete, so I'm just gonna base this off of Dan's really quick.
Yeah.
Alright. So plus 5 is 12, plus 6, 18. So that was 18. And we need to do some math. My end. Okay. This thing's looking bad.
This poor thing's getting bullied, huh?
Yeah. Since Sean is the first one. Yeah, you know what? Let's do... Yeah. So it's gonna close the distance between itself and Sean, and Dan. Wow. That misses? I think it would do weakening gaze. Yeah. What is your con save, buddy? And that passes. Okay, so this thing did absolutely nothing to Dan.
It really is like, it's like very, very outmatched here, huh?
Yeah.
I think it might die before like it gets a second management now.
Maybe, we'll see. It does mean it is Dan's turn. What other bonus actions do you got, my boy? Okay. Yeah, you know what? Yeah, let's do Curse of Binding, which means you have to do... Oh, this might not go well. Well, it failed. So now it no longer has speed. Well, its speed is reduced to 0, and it can't use reactions until the end of my next turn.
That's not.
Which is great. It can't do anything. And Sean just, as an action, fires twice yet again.
Oh man.
Yeah. Okay, oh, that one hits. That one also hits. So that's what, 2d8.
Brother, they're brothering.
Yeah. 4. That's 7. 7 plus 9 is 16. And then I'll need 2d6 from the fire. 6 plus 3 is 9. Divided by 2, that would make it 4. So 16 plus 4 is 20. This thing is now bloodied. But it's still standing.
Or
Dan delivered pretty 2 quick shots in succession. And this thing looks incredibly pissed off, and tries to like move. But you notice that like Dan must have done something, because this thing is not going anywhere. It's your turn again.
Yeah, and Im's going to take this chance to fire off another banishment.
Okay. I need to roll. You said charisma?
Charisma save, yeah.
Alright. I do not know if this will pass. 12.
That fails.
Oh, cool.
Oh, wasn't your charisma save a +1 earlier?
Oh, it was a +1. That's my bad. I keep mixing up these saves.
No, yeah, 10 definitely failed. And this time, like the blue glow, like comes back in the room as in like chance, and distracted as the demon is, it isn't quite able to shake it off this time, and Im's eyes like glow a bright, brilliant blue. As for a moment, it seems like despite it being daytime outside, despite there being no windows, one could swear that the moon has risen like in this room and moonlight is streaming in. And then with a pop, the demon disappears.
Yeah, it's banished with, I'm reading the description for banishment, banished with a faint popping noise, returning to its home plane. And you have to keep concentration for a minute in order to keep that creature back on the in that plane.
Yeah, so there's a pop, and the like demon vanishes, vanishes probably right as it was attempting to swipe out, and the moonlight like fades away, and so does the blue glow in the room. Although Im's staff is still glowing, as is his eyes, and he just kind of like tilts his head and looks at the other two, goes like, it'll be a minute before I'm certain that it won't return, but are you both alright?
Yeah, just fine. Didn't really get that much off on me.
It was quite a weak creature.
Usually these things aren't that bad, but most ordinary people can't handle them.
He does like nod at that.
And you kind of see Dan kind of roll his shoulders a little bit. Sean, in the meanwhile, claps a hand on your shoulder, and goes, "Not half bad."
And Im does smile a little bit at that, and it really does transform his face. It's a very small, sweet, shy smile that makes him look younger. Before he kind of shakes his head and rubs the back of his neck and goes, "I'm rustier than I thought."
Hey, you got him the second try though. It's not
Yes.
too bad. 50-50 ain't too bad.
Yes, that is a good thing, at least that my mistake didn't have severe consequences. And he kind of blinks, and as the minute passes, the glow leaves his eyes, and glow goes out on his staff, and he goes, "Ah, I believe that is the minute."
Alright, well, that's that one. We should probably clean up then.
And Im kind of nods, and he goes, and Im kind of nods, and he goes, "Hopefully you both will have scared it enough that it won't attempt to return here if it ever tries to leave the house again.
After messing with us, probably wouldn't take that chance.
He nods, and he'll help them clean up.
Yeah, it's mostly checking to see if any stray bullets made any lasting damage. Um, but otherwise, it's also cleaning up the salt from the floor.
Yeah, and like Im will help with like looking for the bullets since like he would remember their trajectory. But like with the salt, yeah, like no, he's very much like standing to the side, hands folded under his sleeves, like watching you guys do it because he's not picking up every little bit of salt.
Yeah, it's mostly like a broom and dustpan sort of situation. They probably find one in like a cabinet somewhere.
Yeah, and as you do it, you actually see like him like staring at like you as you do it, and he goes, "Ah, so that's how you clean up salt."
Uh, we don't really have anything else to do. Anything else to do it.
He nods like, and he goes, "I see. I have never actually seen cleaning done this close up before."
You don't do chores at your old temple?
No, I was always due to my above average intelligence, I was immediately relegated to the archives. I spent most of my days scribing. And once I was the high grade priest, I was not the one um, in charge of the day to day upkeep of the temple.
Right.
I'm so sorry. He's such a weird kid.
It's not that he's a weird kid. It's just like he clearly isn't properly socialized. He had a somewhat pampered life. He's also kind of maybe supernatural touched. Um,
Yeah, it's weird.
so it's not
He's not.
as surprising that he hasn't done like chores before.
Yeah. Although this is like the next second he does like give like a brief snort and he does like go ever since coming to Anquil, Hinana has like taught me how to change sheets on the bed, however.
That's an important skill that you need to know.
Yes, she also taught me to who she also taught me how to wash clothes.
How to what clothes?
Wash clothes.
Wash clothes. And that will save you more times than you can count. Alright, come on, let's go.
Yeah. And the thing is, although he looks like a little like like about like doing the chore, like it's not like in the snooty way. It's just in a teenager. I don't want to do the chores like way. He doesn't actually seem to like think that learning it is beneath him or anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's just a typical teenager in this.
Yeah.
Which is...
I think I can do something really funny here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so as they leave, like probably chatting, like Im like glances up at the sky and notices the sun's like position, right?
Mm-hmm.
And one of the features of Keen Mind is that, if I'm not mistaken, one of the features of Keen Mind is, yeah, he can always track the time just by like seeing like the sun's position.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so he notes the sun's position, and he actually pales a little bit, and then did you like actually see him strap his stuff on his back and goes, "This was fun, thank you very much. I am glad that everything went well. I must quickly avast because I have a show that I promised that I have tickets to, and I really want to see this theater show and the comedians. Goodbye," and he's off. And yeah, spiritually, this is literally a kid going, oh my god, my favorite cartoon show is about to show. Goodbye.
That is absolutely hysterical. I think there's like a brief moment where Dan just kind of watches him run off and kind of just chuckles underneath his breath. Um, and Sean just goes, "He's just like you when you were a kid."
And I am not exaggerating about like the cartoon show thing, by the way. Like this is an actual panel from the manga where he's like, I have to return home quickly. There's a 3 hour special of Buddha of Entertainment at 7 p.m. on TV today.
You might want to spoil that for Scopo.
Yeah, Hinata is a meanie and refused to record it for me.
Oh gosh.
But yeah, off he goes. And yeah, a successful hunt. And then Sean, you met a 15-year-old, a very, very normal 15-year-old.
It's really funny because you got barely any Wesson lore.
Yeah, yeah.
These boys are fucked up. But Im doesn't know
They,
that yet.
yeah, and also like let's be honest, M's like not the most normal guy himself.
Yeah.
Like even like in the whole thing of oh yeah, this is a family trait, like of like bounty hunting. Like he was just like, yeah, that makes sense.
Alright.
Uh,
I sorry, I got distracted for a second, so I only heard like part of that.
no, like Im doesn't exactly have a correct like sense of what's normal and not anyway.
Checks out. Um, but yeah, that's it. I bet you these two. I swear, the next time these two come across him, they're gonna take him to a fun restaurant or something, a diner maybe.
I will warn them if they do that.
Mm-hmm.
That Im eats a lot. Im loves eating. Im's a bit of a foodie. He adores like eating new things and snacking.
I mean, it checks out. He's a teenager. He's got
Yeah, that
metabolism.
too. So like if they don't, and also Im doesn't really have a good sense of money. If he has a sense of money at all.
Mm-hmm.
So that means that if at any point they go to the restroom or something and they don't like tell him like beforehand like the budget they're working with, they might come back to him having like ordered like seven of the most like all the most expensive stuff on the menu.
It's fine. It's fine. They've got stuff to work with. It's fine.
Oh no. But that's a story for another day.
It sure is. And thank you so much to our listening audience. Nobody came in to listen right now, but in the future, we are going to bid you all a good time zone.
Yay!
Bye!
Bye!